Hey everybody, Barry with Christenson Transportation. Another segment of Safety Takes Priority. I think today we're going to split it up a little bit, shorter segments, do a couple little things. These two topics come from our good friends at Great West Casualty who have a pretty good knowledge of risk and behaviors and what that does to us and our chances of increasing risk or lowering our risk. So today I want to talk about work zones. So commercial vehicles, they've got limited maneuverabilities, they've got a lot of blind spots, and it makes it a challenge in work zones that we need to really focus on. And here's what I know about work zones, because they're always working. They're pretty short. So let's say we average 500 miles a day. Work zones, probably the longest one you'll ever see is maybe 5 miles. Most of them are a half a mile, 3/4 mile, a mile. So, we have the ability to get through these things pretty easily. They take up a fraction of our driving time. So we really need to focus and understand that it's not that big a deal to slow down and be safer, extra safe for that short period of time. So they give us some examples of things we want to do in a work zone and things we don't want to do in a work zone. So things we want to do is plan your route, watch your GPSs. They'll typically tell you when there's traffic backed up or when there's a work zone. They definitely have signs saying lane closure ahead, merge this way or that way. So you need to get in that lane and stay there. Be alert. Traffic is out of your control, but you have to always think somebody's going to pull out in front of me. Somebody's going to change lanes. Somebody's going to get impatient and think that they're the only one that's getting blocked and they're going to jump out. And usually they're sitting still or barely moving, and you're coming up or another vehicle's coming up and they jump out in there, and then you got to hit your brakes. So be alert for that. Understand that when there's work zones, there's work, which means equipment. So you could have dump trucks pull out, you could have road graders, concrete trucks, whatever it is. There's people that are using heavy equipment, so be alert for that. And they're coming in and out. Usually see a sign that says, hey, trucks entering and leaving highway. That means it's probably a quarry or a gravel pit or whatever it is, and they're always coming in and out. So be careful of that. And drive defensively. Increase your following distances. Stay in one lane. The worst thing you can do with the blind spots on a tractor trailer is creating unnecessary blind spots. So if you get in that right lane and you're slowed down, you've increased your following distance, you don't have to worry about anything on the right. The lane's closed. So all you got to do is keep checking your mirror and be aware of what's coming down that way. When you start going back and forth, by the time that truck moves over one lane, 2 cars could have come up in the spot you were in. 2 cars could be impatient and try to pass you, and then you come back over and they're in your blind spot. So, just be patient. Probably the most aggravating thing I see is people following close, people in that left lane. If there's 3 lanes and one's closed, trucks or vehicles thinking they're going to outrun everybody in the far lane, and then changing lanes. It's just it's risky driving, and it's just so unnecessary based on the short time that we're in those situations. So just slow down, relax, be safe. What you don't want to do, you don't want to be distracted. You don't want to be blind, because then you can't read your notes either. Focus on driving. Don't eat or drink while you're in these places. Keep your little devices out of reach. Don't be tempted to play with stuff in the work zone. Don't be aggressive. Don't speed. Don't tailgate. Allow other drivers to merge. I always say, look, the time you save by running in front of that person trying to merge into you when you know they're trying to merge is insignificant compared to the time you're going to spend on the side of the road if there's an accident. So be smart about it. Always yield the right of way. Look out for people with flags or signs, and don't speed up until you're out of the zone. You know, it's pretty simple. And I say that, but why do we talk about it? Because we have issues. Because not everybody understands that, or everybody always thinks they're in a bigger hurry than anybody else. And I can tell you my number one statement for the people that are in a hurry is leave sooner. Don't wait till the last minute to go to work. Don't wait till the last minute to start your trip and then have to be on a time clock and think you have to speed. So be safe. Don't be an issue in a work zone. The other thing I want to talk about, and just briefly, is basic money management. And I know these are totally different related things, but once again, these are provided by my great friends at Great West, and since I've got it, we're going to talk about it. Managing money can either be stressful or a relief if you're doing it correctly. Depends on how you approach it. Typically the key to financial security is to live on a budget, decide how and where you want your money to go, and not be caught off guard by it. Some of the things that they consider, they put them in categories. Food, don't eat out every day. When I grew up, I think we might go eat at a local pizza place once a year. Because it just, the size of our family, it wasn't, the benefit of going out to eat was not worth the cost of going out to eat. Truck stops have got you captive. You're a captive audience. You can't go anywhere. We were talking about it the other day. The girl said, hey, let's order from Subway, but don't go to the Subway at the truck stop. You got to go to the Subway over here because it's like being on the island. You don't have any choices. So, don't rely on them. They're not good choices. One, they're not healthy. Two, they're way overpriced. I think the last thing you want to do is be away from your family, be out on the road, and have half your income go to truck stop food. Not good. Clothing. Be smart on clothes. You don't need to go buy the name brand. We always joke that, Peterbilt means another extra money. Harley Davidson means another $100. Nobody cares what clothes. Decent clothes are decent clothes. So be smart about that. Your housing's a big thing. It's a fixed expense. Look at where you're at. Don't overbuy. Don't make it a thing where you don't like your happy home because you're tired of paying for that happy home because you bought it too high. Personal vehicles, I think that's probably the biggest thing. These days, most drivers are home weekly, so they have an opportunity every week. But, in the past, we've been out 3-4 weeks. They go home for a couple of days, and there's no need to have a big car payment when you're not there to enjoy it. It's depreciating. You're paying these payments, but you're not able to use it. So that takes away the fun too. About month 2 or 3 of those big payments, you're like, I wish I didn't have this. It takes the fun out of it. So be smart. Probably the thing that relates to me most in this is purchasing spontaneous things, gadgets, toys, motorcycles. It's a fad. You're going to grow tired of it pretty quickly, and it's a wasted expense. So, the thing is, you need to get on a budget. Understand what your fixed costs are, what's your rent, what's your utilities, what's your insurance, what's that's going to be. That's not going to be flexing from month to month. So, don't overdo that. Know what your total household income is, and understand that, if 60% of my money's going over here to my fixed costs, I've got 40% less. So let's manage that 40%. And we don't need to spend it all. The goal at the end of the month is to have some left over, either for the unexpected next month or whatever, whenever it is, or have a savings account, heaven forbid. And I think the key thing that you need to remember is money can be stressful or relieving. You can spend it wisely, you can budget yourself and take a lot of that stress off, or you can always be needing more money. I can't tell you how many times somebody's come in and said, hey, I need to run more miles. I just bought a brand new Harley Davidson. And I'm like, the one you can't ride because you're working, the one that you're not going to have enjoyment out of, and now it's up to me to finance that. That wasn't in our budget. So, just be mindful of those things. We always want something, but 8 out of 10 times we don't need that something. So, and I'm speaking on experience, trust me. So, be smart. Before you hit purchase, let's think about it another day, and more than likely you're like me, you've forgotten about what you were going to buy yesterday because it's not that important in the overall scheme of things. So let me tie these two things together. You're in a work zone and you're worried about being able to pay your bills or your car payment that you just purchased, and you're not focused on driving safely in that work zone, and something happens. So maybe these two topics do go hand in hand. It's a good idea to have them both at the same time. So be safe. Thank you, Great West, for providing documented, data that you've collected over hundreds of thousands of things, and these facts are facts. All the one-offs get tossed aside, and we get the stuff that we know is going to happen. So manage your money, manage your truck, manage your safety. Thanks for watching, and thanks for being at Christenson Transportation, where the truckers truck and safety takes priority.